I'm actually going to be the most liquid I've ever been in 1 week. I was a wholesaler, I think, before the word wholesaler even existed.
Before it was in vogue.
Yeah.
So how much did you lose during that time?
I lost 4.8 personally.
Airbnbs aren't passive.
No, it's a lot of work.
Never, ever, 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 ever accept wire instructions over email. I did that. Email got hacked. $90,000.
I heard a lot of guys in the business, and you probably heard the same, like, this last 24 months has been difficult. This last 24 months is just reality. This is what it is. It's that seasonality.
It was $95,000 to set it up, but my tax bill was gonna be like $450.
This is the Mr. Burr Show.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. Today, I've got an absolute juggernaut on the show when it comes to wholesaling houses. He's purchased over 10,000 homes in the Phoenix area. One of the staples, one of the names at the top, and we're going to pick his brain and get into wholesaling. I'm sure you guys know what wholesaling is, but when you learn something, you want to make sure you learn from one of the best. Like if I'm going to go try to be a basketball player, I'm going to go ask LeBron James, Michael Jordan how to do it, right? Because they're the best of the best. So I've got one of the best here with me to talk about wholesaling and how it can benefit you. Stay tuned. You're not going to want to miss this one. So without further ado, Chris Eymann, welcome to the show, brother.
Hey, thanks for having me on. This is kind of fun.
Of course, man. Well, we go kind of way back. Do you remember the first time we met?
Don't. You reminded me at the RIA last time, but it's still slipping my mind.
Yeah. So, guys, I was new in the game, and someone hit me up, and we're at Starbucks, and they were new, and they're asking me like wholesaling. So we're sitting there talking about wholesaling. I'd done like 2 or 3 deals at the time. This was, I think, late 2019, and we were at a Starbucks near your office. Off of Bethany Home.
Now I'm getting it. That's coming back to me, yeah.
Yeah, so we're sitting there, me and this guy are sitting there talking about wholesaling, and you kind of overheard, and you're like, hey, I hear you guys talking about wholesaling. I hold a RIA every month. You guys should come to it. We're like, oh, cool. So then I started going to those RIAs, met Justin Colby, met all these people in the game, and it's crazy to think that was almost 5 years ago already.
Yeah, it's crazy. I started that RIA in 2017. I was just looking back, like, you get the reminders on the social, and I was like, I've really been doing this for like 7 years.
So let's talk about the RIA. What is it? How can people benefit from it? It's here in Phoenix once a month.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, so it's just kind of like, everybody talks about giving back, right? So that's kind of like, it was kind of my way to give back. And I grow my network from it, right? I didn't start with the social media that, people start with now. There's just so much information overload out there. Yeah. I had to actually build my business like, coffee table, like shaking hands, that whole thing. So it's kind of like my baseline, if you will, like just, networking and that kind of stuff. 'Cause I don't remember the stat, but it was like if you meet somebody, you have like a 7-time better chance of doing business with them, right? Mm-hmm. If you're just texting somebody, you might do business, but if you actually meet them, we met at the Starbucks, you came to the RIA, we created a relationship. That doesn't really happen anymore. So I guess that was kind of my way to give back. It's zero cost, just come meet people, come network. And so I guess it's my way to give back. Now, like I said, it helps me build my brand. A new wholesaler comes into the market. He might need a wholesale house. He might need a hard money loan, so it helps. But, literally the guys that I have go to the RIA, it's like, you can speak and you're speaking next month.
Right.
But
this month.
This month. Sorry, in a couple weeks. Yeah. But kind of what I've always said is like, hey, don't bring like your 60-minute sales pitch, right?
Yeah.
Bring value. Mm-hmm. Give them your contact information, and obviously, if you do a 45 to 60 minute value add, they're just going to run to the front of the room,
right,
and ask you questions. But don't have it be like, set up, close, the whole sales pitch. So that's kind of why I started it.
Yeah, just to bring value to people. And guys, there's so much power in that. When I first started in real estate, I got my first 8 deals, 0 marketing. I wasn't doing texting. I wasn't doing cold calling. I wasn't doing mailers. I was literally just going to the RIA. I was going to batches, meetups, and just meeting other people in the game.
Yeah.
And letting them know, like, hey, I'm looking to do fix and flips. I'm looking to do wholesales. Like, send me your deals. I'll take a look at them. I've got capital. I can do the flip. I've got crews. Well, the whole time I didn't have any. My partner, Templeton Walker, had them.
Right.
But we were just JVing the deals. He had everything that I needed. I had the capital. I just needed to find the deals. Yep. So going to the meetups where people are actually doing deals got me exposure, got me FaceTime. So people started saying, oh, Devin Burr is a flipper. He does flips. I'll send him this deal. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And it all came from just going to meetups.
And you didn't have like acquisition costs and
right.
all that. It's just you either have the time or the money, right? So
right.
if you're starting out, the time is where a lot of people start. And like I said, you go into the meetups, you met the person once, maybe it takes the second time, and they're like, and then all of a sudden the text messages start coming through. I got this deal. I got this deal. Right?
Yep. One of the best things you guys can do, if you're going to a meetup, you meet someone that's a hard money lender, you meet someone that's title company, follow up with them after that meetup. That's so important to follow up with them quickly, like within a day or two.
Yeah.
Shoot them a text, shoot them a call. Hey, it was awesome meeting you. We should meet for coffee and, brainstorm a little bit. That's huge, right?
Yeah. I kind of always had this rule, like Starbucks the next morning. Like if I went to an event, if I collected cards, obviously you go to the event, sometimes there's cocktails involved, like have a couple cocktails and you do a little socializing after that and you dive into bed or whatever. Hit Starbucks the next morning, pull out the cards, follow up. Or if you just added them to your phone, just scroll through the last 10 text messages and follow up.
Yep.
Right?
It's so powerful. So you started that in 2017, but you've been in the game since 99?
99. Yeah, the good and the bad.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Guys, so really put this in perspective. We're talking with someone that's been in the game for 20 years longer than I have. I started in 2019. So a wealth of knowledge. And think about like the ebbs and flows of what's happened in that time frame. 99, you had like the .com boom or whatever, right?
That's how I got started. I got laid off twice in 99.
Really?
From the .com, I was a MCSE, which is a Microsoft certified engineer, and an MCDBA, Microsoft certified database administrator.
Okay.
Laid off twice in 12 months.
Ouch.
Yeah.
So then what'd you do?
I was like, between layoff 1 and layoff 2, I was like, no one's going to control my life anymore. Like I'm going to be my own boss eventually. I'm not going to work for somebody else. And so I started down the foreclosure process because we didn't have this texting and mailing and all the actually they probably had mail. I just didn't know about it. So the only thing I knew is go buy foreclosures, go to the foreclosure steps. And that's where I started.
Old school way of doing it.
Yeah.
I love it. So you started doing that. How long did it take you to get your first deal?
I started going to foreclosures in like September 99 and I bought my first deal in December. So I literally just go there every single day and
learn
watch.
The lingo and
just watch, see the regular guys, just watch what was going on. After you go long enough, you start to know the names and start having conversations and yeah.
So September of 99, first deal in December. When did you feel like I'm a real estate investor? When did you feel that?
I don't know. It was just once I got my first deal, it was just kind of like a fast forward. I bought it in Sun City. So here you go. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm buying an age restricted area. I can only sell it to a number of people. I didn't realize the $3,000 transfer fee, so just learning bumps along the road. And then I flipped that one, still working the full-time job. I was just a consultant now. I went to just like $100 an hour as a IT consultant and no longer on a payroll. But so I bought my first house, and then in December, I got 2 more in March. And then I was just fix and flipping. And then I'd say by the summer, I was a wholesaler, because I'm sitting out there networking. I'm sitting at the bar. I'm like, what do you do? I buy at the foreclosure sales. Nobody buys at the foreclosure. Oh, can you get me one?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I can get you one. I was a wholesaler, I think, before the word wholesaler even existed.
Before it was in vogue.
Yeah.
So you're talking about less than a year from like never doing anything with real estate before to like you're laid off. You're like kind of at rock bottom maybe.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, you got 3 kids, you get let go. Yeah, it's just.
Yeah, it's scary.
Yeah.
And you're how old at that time?
So this would have been, 99. So got to do a little math. It's 25 years ago. So 27, 28. Yeah.
Yeah. So late 20s, like I think a lot of people think that success should just come like quicker, right?
Yeah.
Patience is something that I don't think a lot of people have, including myself. I always want it to happen yesterday.
Yeah.
Right. But you got to understand that if September it started in 99, the next summer, so less than a year, you went from laid off, never doing real estate before, to the next summer, you're like a full-blown like wholesaler, investor. People are asking you for deals. Like it can change quickly. But what I heard about the story is that it happened because you just engulfed yourself in it. You surrounded yourself around people. You learned the lingo. You knew the faces. You knew the names. Like there's something to be said about environment, who you surround yourself with.
Yeah.
Would you agree?
Yeah. And then you have that, I mean, you know this as an entrepreneur, you have this, there's so much to, there's obviously inspiration, aspiration, but just straight motivation, like staying motivated, just like you can have your good days, you can have your bad days. I kind of got a little funny story from January. I put out the post, like the New Year's goals, right? I'm going to go to the gym 45 times.
This January?
Yeah, this January. Just put it out. I'm going to go to the gym 45 times. I quit drinking for the entire month of January, which I always do because I'm eating too many cookies over Christmas. But
I thought I was the only one.
So January, I put out the post, 45 workouts, no drinking. Got a goal to do 500 houses this year. And then it's just like anything, something hits you. So I go to the dermatologist. You got melanoma. Oh, we're going to cut this big section of your back out like this thick. Well, you could use that and go, well, this wasn't my 45 days I'm supposed to work out, right? But so he's like, oh, you got stitches in your back. No more shoulders, no more. I mean, I can sit there and do curls like this. You can only do so many curls in a month. Right. So I switch gears. I'm going to do 15,000 steps a day for the entire month. So you can have some kind of goal or some kind of something comes up and you could quit or you could pivot, right?
Right. You can definitely pivot as long as you don't pivot too much because then you just go in a circle.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. True.
So you got to pivot correctly. But I mean, it's so true. Like there's curveballs, right?
Yeah.
Curveballs in life happen. Great example, when you got laid off.
Yeah.
That's a curveball.
Yeah.
Right? You figured things out. And then I got to imagine there was a curveball with like 9/11, right? When you're full blown like into wholesaling and 9/11 happens, like talk about that.
Yeah, so I was actually I was in the rebuilding stage and that was 2001, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
yeah, 2001. Yeah, I was still kind of in my fix and flip mode. I don't think that 2001 was, that big of a curveball for us. We were just kind of cruising along. Obviously I was still doing my wholesale and I was still fix and flipping because obviously, wholesale back then was I was making $2-3 grand, but I was, trying to get one deal done a day. So it's, doing pretty well, but I was still doing my fix and flipping. 2007 was that one's a curveball,
Oh, I bet. Yeah. So you've got 7-8 years of cranking at this point, right?
Yeah.
How many flips had you done up into 07?
I got to figure I was flipping, 10 to 15 a year. So
Okay.
7 years. Yeah.
70, 80, 90.
Yeah. Somewhere between 70 and 100. Yeah.
Okay. And then wholesales. You're trying to get one a day.
Yeah. Well,
So you're doing well for 6, 7, 8 years. And then the good old Great Recession.
yeah. So I teamed up with a bunch of other guys in like 2022 or 2002 and 3. By Z Foreclosures. I don't know if you've heard of them.
Okay.
We were 3 partners. We ended up going to get, so we're wholesaling. We're probably the second biggest wholesaler at this time. The 3 of us are doing, 3 to 5 deals a day.
Nice.
Pretty consistently. We had a website, systems in place, but we built a hard money company as well. Got a $25 million line of credit in 03 and a $100 million line of credit in 05 just to put out hard money. And at the time, it was prime plus 2, so prime's bouncing around 7 plus 2, so 9. And at the time, hard money's at 18. So
you're making a 9-10% spread
on 80 million.
It was nice. It was nice. And then that evaporated.
Yeah.
Like overnight, right?
Yeah, so basically the secondary market quit buying paper in July of 07. And for those that don't understand that, those loan originators create a loan, brokers, bankers, they originate a loan, and then they pull them up and sell them.
Yeah.
So they quit buying. So all the originators could originate, no buyers. So now their lines of credit are full. No more money to originate, no more loans available for anybody. So you were buying houses in the back 3rd and 4th quarter of 07. It was either cash or cash.
Or nothing. Yeah.
So
or you weren't buying houses.
Yeah. So obviously that when you have a $80 million portfolio of fix and flip loans that are just asset-based, no recourse. Here's the keys, Devin.
Oh. Yeah, so how much did you lose during that time?
So so our line of credit was Wells Fargo Foothill. We had $80 million out. They lost $6 million on their line. I lost 4.8 personally.
Oh, that hurts. That hurts. Yikes. So the most I've ever lost is 5,000. And that hurt. But I guess it wouldn't be a loss. It was a lesson, right? I had a $5,000 lesson. You had a almost $5 million lesson of what not to do again, right?
Yeah, and I mean, everything I'd worked from 99 to 2007, every fix and flip, every wholesale deal, everything I had done to that point was gone. And it wasn't just my money. It was I had friends and family money in the company.
Oh, that's tough.
And it was going too.
Yeah, that's tough.
Yeah, so I did the, hey, I can't pay any more interest. Sorry. I will repay the money. I don't know when and how or how that looks, but I'll pay it back.
Yeah.
It took me from basically 08 when I started making money again to about 2015 to pay all that back.
Wow. So how did you pivot in that situation?
So because I just kept a good name, there were so many foreclosures running through me and my partner. I became partners with my sister and my brother-in-law, and we started a bid service because you could no longer just buy at the wholesale or buy at the trustee sale and wholesale. There's just so much volume going through. So, we just started a bid service. Here's the 100 houses. Here's the 200 houses going tomorrow. Here's our website. We're going to put up the address and the pictures, and you tell us what you'd be willing to pay. And so just having a good reputation and
is that something that people can still do?
Yeah.
A bid service?
No one at the foreclosure sales actually bids for their own account anymore. The people down there, like you always see them on the phone because they're talking to the actual buyer on the phone.
Got it.
The buyers don't actually attend the sales.
Got it. Okay, so that's not a good way to get deals today?
So actually, the foreclosure steps is the most expensive place to buy because it's all public knowledge. If I send you a letter or I cold call you or you click on my pay-per-click campaign and say, hey, Chris, I want to buy your house. We meet on the kitchen table. It's a negotiation. You're in financial distress or for whatever reason, you're choosing this route versus calling your neighborhood realtor, right? Mm-hmm. Speed, convenience, don't want people coming through your house, whatever the deal is. So you can get way better deals, just like, buying anything. If you go to Fashion Square, it's going to be expensive.
Yeah.
If you find something that like you can just buy from somebody else, you can get a good deal, especially if you know what you're looking for, right?
And if you're liquid.
Yeah. And if you're
got
liquid,
cash.
yeah.
That's so important. We were just talking about it offline. One of our friends got a tattoo.
Yeah.
About liquidity. So shout out to Templeton Walker. Love you, Doug.
Yeah.
So it's important to be liquid. And you learned that back in 2008.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
So how has that changed now? How are you staying liquid?
I rebuilt my, it's kind of funny. I'm actually going to be the most liquid I've ever been in 1 week. I've actually decided to, I'm bi-coastal now. I'm here in Arizona. I'm in Florida, and I go back and forth every week. I'm actually on Justin Colby's podcast in 2 weeks over on the East Coast. But so when I was here full time, I have a house over off 60th and Shea. Well, now that I'm bi-coastal, it makes no sense to have a big house here locally. So I ran it as an Airbnb. Airbnb market's, crunching, too much inventory. So I was just like, and obviously the appreciation in Phoenix has been amazing for the last 2 to 3 years. I think it's like 87%.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah. So it's like,
in a good way. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, at 52, it's like an opportunity. Like this Airbnb thing has now become a job. And So I was just like, here's a chance to take some chips off the table. I've always kept myself pretty liquid. I also know the cycles. Now the cycles. I watch inventory constantly. I watch the 10-year bond constantly. When I see rates start going like up and ticking up, you'll correlate that to Phoenix inventory ticking up. I'm like, my morning coffee, I'm like watching the data, like all the time. PTSD.
Well, there's so much to be said about, there's definitely seasons. Like you think about a season in like throughout the year, you have winter, spring, summer, and fall. Arizona doesn't really have it. We just have hot.
Yeah, exactly.
And then cool.
Yeah.
But traditionally, there's 4 seasons. Markets go in seasons too, and it's very cyclical.
Yeah, for
right?
sure.
So if you can start seeing those cycles, you can play them correctly.
Yeah.
And you can be liquid when you need to and a little less when you don't need to. So when you're liquid, where are you storehousing that capital?
Well, I'm a hard money lender, so most of my stuff goes out in hard money loans. So, we do it for our own account, our own cash too, and then we do it for other people's money. We create loans and then sell it to private guys. Once I did the with the 80 million, that comes with a personal guarantee. Like you guarantee the bank. So if something goes wrong, they can come back after you. Yeah, I had.
So do you still have the bank with that line of credit?
No,
It's all just your own capital.
Yeah. Oh, no, friends capital. So I create a note at 12% today, and then I just sell it to a buddy that wants 10%.
Got it. And they're just keeping the spread.
I'm just keeping the 2 points. Yeah, that's the difference between a broker who can broker loans and a banker. I'm a banker who can sell the loan and take the yield spread. So right.
Got it. So, guys, it's kind of cool. He's doing really what I do. I just use life insurance to do it.
Yeah.
So I'm borrowing from a life insurance policy at 5%, and then I just take that money and lend it to someone I'm lending at 15.
Yeah.
So awesome. I lend at 15, I borrowed at 5, I'm keeping a 10% spread. And then the beauty of it is the way I'm able to get that loan is I put my money into the policy, and that money is collateral to get the loan from the life insurance company.
Yeah.
So my money's sitting there compounding and growing while I'm getting 15% at the same time.
Yeah. Double dipping.
Yeah, making money in two places at the same time.
Right.
It's a beautiful thing. And hard money loans, private lending, in my opinion, is the only true passive income in real estate.
Yeah.
It really is. Because if you do your due diligence up front, like you make sure, for me, I'll lend money to a certain operator I have one operator out of Utah where they buy plots of land and then they'll buy it with their capital, the land, and then they'll raise capital to excavate and build like single family home communities.
Yep.
So I vetted that operator.
Yeah.
That's my due diligence. That's my work. But once I do that, there's nothing else. It's just checks.
Exactly.
It's the only true passive income, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Like, Airbnbs aren't passive.
No, it's a lot of work. You got
Yes.
And well, you could pay the property manager to be passive, but property managers are 25, 30%. Yeah. It's most of your profit.
Yeah.
So I've always just done it myself. I have 3, so I mean, and I'm one of those guys that's on my phone all the time anyway, so I can manage it. But it's just like you get the call like, yeah, to trash bags. I'm like, all right, I'm Ubering trash bags, but it's still just kind of it's annoying, right? So
I get the funniest stuff. I get for some reason one of our Airbnbs, people could never find the thermostat.
Yeah.
So I'll get messages, "Where's the thermostat?" And I'm just like, it's this round thing, eye level,
Yeah.
next to the master bedroom door. Like, I don't know how they miss it, but so many people miss where that thermostat is at. I get that all the time.
You know, my Airbnb has 2. It's like I keep adjusting the thermostat, and it's still hot on that side of the house. I'm like, there's one in the other.
There's another one. Oh man, it's a hospitality business.
Yeah.
And hospitality, you have to be on the ball
Yeah.
all the time. It's not passive.
No.
But yeah, hard money, private money, you lend money out as long as you do your due diligence up front, because you can get burned if you don't. It's passive.
Yeah.
So if people want to do like hard money and private lending, that kind of thing, what are some things you would tell people to look out for when doing it?
Well, just obviously get your doc set right, and then I'm a true hard money lender. I am looking at the asset because I'm a home buyer. I've done some, just like you've done some fix and flips. You could go, if you were to do a hard money loan on a fix and flip, you'd be like, do I want to flip that one? Like, if they don't pay me,
I don't want that turd.
Yeah. Like, if you don't want it, don't lend on it.
Yeah.
If you look at it and like, they don't pay me, I'm going to make a fortune on this thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's kind of the loan. That's kind of my criteria is like, we're a true hard money lender. We're not running credit. We're not looking at your last 3 deals. You can get cheaper financing if you're willing to do all that stuff. But that first guy that's done his first 1 to 5 deals, he needs money too. So yeah. I'm just like, hey, yeah, that house in Scottsdale, if he doesn't pay me, I could re-wholesale it and make $30,000 on it, no problem.
Yeah. So guys, I always talk about becoming the bank. I'm huge on like being the bank, because the bank in real estate, it's the ultimate trump card.
Yeah.
Because think about it, the bank always makes money.
Yeah.
The flipper could lose money, the wholesaler could not make any money, but the bank, the lender,
always makes money.
And they're generally using other people's money.
Yeah.
So they're leveraging money just like banks do. Banks leverage our deposits and lend them out to us. They pay us a little fraction of an interest, and then we pay them back with interest. If we get a car loan, a house loan, whatever, student loan,
Yep.
they get the money back with interest, and they pay us a little fraction. So they're just keeping the spread.
Yeah.
And who's in control? The bank. They assess the asset. They credit check, financial statements, blood type, shoe size.
Exactly.
Like, banks are always in control, and you think like a banker. You're like, all right, that asset, do I want to lend on it? Because if they don't pay me, do I want that asset?
Right.
I don't want that turd.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lend on it. So being the bank is, in my opinion, it should be everyone's ultimate financial goal. But most people don't think of it like that.
Yeah, and then like you just said, it's the true passive way to make money. So if you can build yourself up to that, like that's kind of my retirement goal. Like, will I retire? I don't know how much I'm going to retire with, but I'll still be able to have enough contacts to have some hard money loans out there where I'm just getting the mailbox money, right? Just collecting the checks. And let's just use $10 million. Let's say you had $10 million and every asset was 300 grand or every loan was 300 grand. To have a little bit of money in the bank, you're only talking 30 loans that roll over. Let's say a fix and flip is 6 months.
Yeah.
So you got 30 loans rolling over a 6-month time frame.
Yeah.
5 loans a month. How long does it take to create a doc set on loans?
Not long.
2 hours, maybe an hour.
So when you say doc set, let people know what that is.
So like to do a loan, you need a deed of trust, you need a note, and then what we do is called a borrower certificate. It's a business agreement. Hey, Devin, you're not moving into this house. We have a business agreement. This is a fix and flip. I'm not lending you money. So I'm basically covering all the Dodd-Frank and QM laws and all that stuff that say this is a fix and flip loan. I'm not lending you money for your personal residence.
Yeah. So guys, that's again the due diligence part of being a lender. You have to do those little things. You have to have a lien position. That's huge.
Yeah.
Because if that fix and flipper stops making payments to you and you don't have a lien position, but if you have a lien position, first lien preferably, that's your house now. You can go take it legally.
Yeah. And that's why if you're lending money, send it to the title company.
Always through the title company.
Send it to the title company. Yeah. And we have title insurance. Make them get the Ulta policy. You know, don't be like, hey, I'm going to lend Brendan some money. Here's 200 grand.
Because you'll never get it back.
Exactly.
Ever.
So
guys, so important to always go through title. Always lend to a business. Don't lend to a person. Lend to an LLC.
Yeah.
Right? And I always think it makes sense to get a personal guarantee. So like if they don't pay you, you can not only go after the business, you can go after them personally for their personal assets.
Yeah.
That's just what I personally do when I lend. And then always, I repeat always, because I made this mistake, never, ever accept wire instructions over email.
Yeah.
I did that. Email got hacked, $90,000.
Yeah, gone. I ran into that. I want to say in about 2015, they hacked my assistant's email, $270,000. Now, we also do a lot of follow-up process, like, hey, did you get the wire? Did you get the wire? So it was a stressful 48 hours, but we were able to, luckily they were moving them offshore somewhere. And I think we lost $52,000 in that afternoon. But 270 was captured. But we were able to, lock accounts and we didn't get the remaining balance. I think for a couple months it was lock the account down, a process, right? Make a claim with the bank, all the stuff. But don't. And if you do take wiring instructions over email, pick up the phone, call the title company, verify. This is the account number. This is the routing number. A
smart person learns from other people's mistakes. A smart person learns from their own mistakes.
Yeah.
A genius learns from other people's.
Right. So they don't make it. Yeah.
Right. So learn from our mistakes, guys. I lost 90 grand. I might get it back. It's part of like this big fraud scheme. We have like a private investigator on it. So who knows how long it's going to take to actually make the arrest or whatever. And then they have to seize their assets. And then, so I might get the 90 grand back, but I'm kind of just chalking it up as like, okay, that was a lesson. Never, ever accept wire instructions over email. Yeah. And if you do, call.
Yeah.
And just be like, hey, just want to make sure. Because if I would have done that, they would have been like, no, we didn't send wire instructions. That's not it.
Yeah.
So then I would have saved $90,000.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
Yeah. But blessed that it didn't like bankrupt me. Because if it was like 4 or 5 years ago, I would have been like, babe, we might have to sell the house.
Well, $90,000 is a lot of. I don't care what level you are. $90,000 is a lot of money, right? So
yeah, it's just it didn't hurt as much as it would have.
Yeah.
If it was a little earlier when I didn't have as much success and things like that. But yeah, so private lending, amazing. I suggest everyone do it.
Yeah, for sure. And especially with your system.
Yeah.
100%.
Because here's the cool thing. I don't tell a lot of people this, but I actually make compound interest in 2 places at the exact same time. Crazy.
Yeah.
So here's how it works. I put money into overfunded whole life insurance.
Yep.
It's guaranteed to compound and grow. It'll grow regardless. Then I borrow against it, and then I lend it, right, to an operator giving me 15% interest.
Right.
So they're paying me 15%. I'm getting that. It's compounding over here at the same time.
Yep.
What I do is I let that 15% build up for a quarter, so for 3 months, and then I lend it back to them. So now I'm getting compound interest from them and compound interest from my policy at the exact same time. And compound interest, Einstein called it the 8th wonder of the world.
Right.
So if you can do it in 2 places at the same time, it's a cheat code.
Yeah.
You know?
Sure.
So I love it, man. I love private lending. So how can people find deals to lend on?
Well,
aside from going to the RIA.
Yeah. So, so if you wanted to actually be a wholesaler, right? That's or find deals. You have to build systems. You could obviously go the foreclosure space. Mm-hmm. That's the most expensive place to buy. And then there's a bunch of different systems below that. You can hunt for deals on MLS. Mm-hmm. So you can also do some agent outreach, which is basically reaching out to
realtors.
Realtors.
Yeah.
Just say, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Agent, I'm a cash buyer. I'm looking for a property to fix and flip in that specific area, right? A lot of people do that. And then there was some cold calling and texting. I'm sure you've gotten a call or two or a text or two, right? And then, so those are kind of your outbound methods. And then you have your inbound methods, which are like PPC. Then there's pay per lead, where they just send you the leads. You could do mailers. I wouldn't do mailers in Phoenix, super saturated. Smaller markets, great mailer spots. And then those are inbound calls, so a little easier to convert. My pay-per-click is probably one of my favorites. People just search on Google, sell your house fast, inbound call. My acquisition guy takes the call. And we do that here in Arizona and Florida.
How much are you spending on that?
Our lead cost is about $275 a lead.
Okay. And then how many leads to convert?
1 to 10 conversion.
Okay. So you're at about 3,000 per converted?
Yep.
And then how much per wholesale?
25.
2,500?
1,000.
I was going to say, so you're negative. That's not good.
So yeah.
25, that's good. That's good. Good spread.
Yeah. It's but then my acquisition guy gets 20%. So I'm like $3,000 per contract, $5,000 for my acquisition guy. So
you're around 13 net?
Yeah.
Good. That's good.
Yeah. I'm like a 1 to 5 ratio.
That's good.
I put in my dollar in the slot machine and I pull it and I get $5 back.
You've probably seen this so often where newer wholesalers, for sure, especially the last few years, they start making some big checks and they're like, yeah, let's go buy a Lambo. Let's go buy some stupid stuff, right?
Yeah.
And then things dry up. So talk to the importance of you get money coming in, a certain portion of it has to go towards like advertising and marketing, right? To keep the engine moving.
Yeah.
Right? So talk to that.
So like if you're starting out, like we talked about before offline, you either have marketing dollars or you have marketing time So your time, like when you started, you had your time, you were going to your meetups, right? You did your first 8 deals, didn't spend $1, right? So you're spending your time. So you can do some cold calling, for instance, like Luke, right? One of my favorite guys in the wholesale business is Luke. Like he started for Brent Daniels dialing. Mm-hmm. That's all he did. He was on
acquisitions.
Yeah, just acquisitions on his headset, playing Madden, dialing 4 hours a day. And now he's got, 20 investment properties. He's building the 32 unit. But like, here's a guy that just started with his time and calling and working for somebody else.
Yeah.
And then was able, I think it's a pretty inspiring story, was able to, learn the business, get into it, and then, stepped out on his own, started wholesaling, sending his products to me. I was wholesaling it for him, and then, just kept the momentum going. And now he's got, like I said, 20 assets, building the 32 unit. But same thing, that liquidity, like he was just kept putting the money into fix and flips. And then when the halt came in the fall of 2022, it was like, yeah.
Like, what am I going to do now?
Yeah. So, and luckily, I heard a lot of guys in the business, and you probably heard the same, like this last 24 months has been difficult.
Yeah.
And it's really, this last 24 months is just reality. This is what it is. It's that seasonality.
Right.
You're going to have, and this year is no different. What do you think happens in September of 2024 when there's an election in the 4th of November?
Yeah.
Everybody, we're going to just sit and twiddle our thumbs. We just sit at this table and go like this, right? Yep. No one's going to do anything. And
because there's going to be uncertainty.
Exactly.
So people are going to
pause.
They're going to sit on their hands. Yeah. So one thing I would always stress for people to do is stay lean.
Yeah.
A lot of people go out there and they think they need to start getting an office space and all these things, because then it just creates a bunch of overhead.
Yep.
Right? That's one thing that I've done really, really well. I have zero overhead. I don't have an office. Like, this isn't my office. Like,
you probably just rent it, right?
Rent the space out, right? And it took me 3 years before I decided to do something like this. This was the biggest expense I had.
Yeah.
By far. Like, I just don't have overhead. I don't have a big team that I pay. So that way, when things do drop, which luckily for me and the way my business is, things have just kept going up. But if they were to drop, I'm not sweating it because I don't have a lot of overhead.
Yeah.
Just my normal overhead, my mortgage at my house, and like all my car loans, they're paid to my banking system. So I don't pay like an actual bank. I'm paying it to my banking system. So I'm recapturing the money. I can immediately use it again for whatever I want.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Just like those guys that you talked about with the Lambo, and they're upgrading and upgrading and upgrading. It's just like financial, IQ is the biggest part of this game. Like, if you can, as you start out, wherever you start from, obviously your system is awesome. Like, your financial IQ is through the roof compared to everybody else. But like, getting things that continually to passively pay you money, right? Because you have your active income, you're doing that. And then when you get the passive income, and that's what financial freedom, financial freedom, right? Is when you get the checks in the mail every day, and you're like, check's coming in the mail.
Yeah, without fail.
Yeah.
So I can tell you this much, guys. He is spot on, because you've only got so much time in a day.
Yeah.
You can only work so much. And then let's say you just crank. You're going to get tired. You're going to need to sleep. Then if you don't get enough sleep, next day you're not going to crank as hard, right? You're going to burn out. So you can only make so much money actively. But if you have passive income, if you deploy your money instead of buying stupid stuff, that's working for you while you're sleeping.
Yeah.
That's what you want. Like, my ultimate goal is to make more while I'm sleeping than I can possibly spend while I'm awake.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
So like, I wake up, slept for 8 hours. I made $500,000 last night.
Yeah.
Let's go try to spend this. I spend it. I'm like, all right, I need to make more passive income. I want to get to the point where I can't spend how much I made while I'm asleep.
That's a great goal.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's possible. It just takes time.
Yeah. That's what. So that's why I never had the big rentals. I had a couple Airbnbs we talked about, but like the hard money company is just passive income every month. And it's funny, interesting about the wholesale business. If the wholesale business slows down like it does in the fall, the loans just take longer to pay off.
So you just get more interest.
You just get more interest.
Yeah. You almost don't want the money to come back.
No, it's just like just keep collecting money.
Right.
But it's kind of interesting about the wholesale hard money combination. When you're doing your active wholesaling, you're making money, but when it slows down in the fall, the loans just don't pay off. So the interest keeps ticking.
Yes. And then what you're doing is you're taking that active income from the wholesaling and putting it into the passive with the lending.
Yep.
Right? Which is smart. Again, you're not taking that active income and going and buying a Bugatti.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
The funny thing is you could probably afford one.
Yeah.
It would just be stupid.
Yeah, I'm into boats. I like boats. But once again, I have a boat, but it's in I have a catamaran, but it's in a catamaran fleet. So it gets rented out.
So it's an asset.
It gives me income. It pays 9%.
Yeah. So let's talk about that, because that's interesting. A lot of people view a boat as
throw another 1,000, right?
Yeah, break out another 1,000, right? So you've turned what most people look as a big liability, a big just tank of you just throwing money at it.
Yep.
You turned that into an asset.
Business, yeah.
So very rudimentary level, guys. Liability takes money out of your pocket. Asset puts money in your pocket.
Yep.
So you turned something that took money out of your pocket into something that put money in your pocket.
Yeah.
How'd you do it?
So I'm just going to use 500 grand as an easy number, right?
Okay.
Buy the boat for 500 grand. First of all, there's bonus depreciation on an asset like this, right? Because it's a business. So you get it depreciated all year one.
So boats, planes as well, right?
Yeah, boats, planes. So 500 grand, save whatever the tax bracket is. Let's just say 30%, right? Anyway, I partnered with my sister. Take the 500 grand, buy a boat. It goes into a fleet.
Okay.
The fleet will pay you 9% on your purchase price. So 9% on 500 grand is 45 grand a year. They're basically a kind of an Airbnb company for boats. So they pay all the insurance, all the maintenance, all the dockage, all the repairs.
Wow.
So
on top of the 9%.
On top of the 9%.
Wow.
So you don't ever get a bill. You buy the boat, you give it to them, and now their base is all over the world. I've been to Bora Bora. I've been to Fiji. I've been to the Greek islands, Ibiza. I'm going to Sicily in September. So they have these bases all over the world. Now you get to use your boat 12 weeks a year. So 6 weeks are planned. So I can say I want like my date in September 7th through the 14th. I have a 50-foot catamaran in Sicily. So paid for, done. And so I'm collecting my 9%. I depreciated the asset. So I took money off my taxes. And now I get a vacation. And so if you've ever seen my social media where I'm on a boat, like I'm using somebody else. It's not my boat. My boat's in the Bahamas. So if I'm in Sicily, I'm using somebody else's boat. That's
awesome.
But you could go spend money on a boat and, dockage and insurance. And it's just like bill after bill after bill.
I guess I got to go buy a boat now. Because let's say if it's 30% off of your taxes, if it's 500 grand, it's what, 150?
Yeah.
So 150 grand. If your tax bill was 200, now it's 50.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
And I think it's the same as a plane, because I know with planes, let's say you buy $1 million plane and you get a loan from the bank for it. You got to put, let's say, 20% down. So you put 200 grand down, but you can write off the full $1 million.
Yeah. So you say in that same 30% that we just talked,
grand.
You'd write off 300 grand. So you basically saved yourself 100.
Yeah. So like, let's say instead of you having to pay the IRS 300,000, you say December 31st, let me go buy this plane. I put 200 grand into this plane. I can write off 300 grand. Now I didn't send it to the IRS. I've got this plane, and now I can charter the plane, turn it into an asset.
Yeah.
You know what's so funny, man? I had this epiphany a couple weeks ago. You know, you always hear wealth is a mindset.
Yep.
It really is. Like these things that we're thinking about is just a shift in mindset.
Yeah.
I've got a buddy that has a really big following for cars. He's got a supercar. So his following on Instagram is like 60, 70,000 followers that are really intently following his content. Mm-hmm. So if he puts anything out about cars, people listen.
Yeah.
Including myself. Like I'll hit him up and be like, hey, do you know someone that can repair rims? And he's like, yeah, shoots me a number real quick.
Yeah.
He was putting up a video the other day where he's talking about something happening with his car, and he's talking up this company that's doing it. He shows the company. And I messaged him on the story, and I'm like, dude, you could make so much money by becoming an affiliate for that guy.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
And he was like, yeah, I'm getting a good discount. And I'm like, dude, you're thinking about it wrong.
Yeah.
Like, who cares about the discount?
Right.
Become an affiliate. People listen to you when it comes to cars. You're an affiliate for this guy. You'll make so much money that the discount doesn't matter. It's the shift in mindset.
Yeah.
Right?
Now all of a sudden you get more passive income.
Yeah. You don't got to do anything but like shout this person out every once in a while. Have a link in your bio that takes them to this person. When they buy anything from this person, you get a cut of it. All you have to do is make one little video, which he's already doing.
Yeah.
But his mindset is, let me get a discount.
Especially if you got 60, 70,000 followers, you make, that's why people, follow these people. You make one suggestion, like, boom.
Yeah, 100%. Guys, that's what I've become, I wouldn't say an expert at, but I've become pretty good at it, is affiliates.
Yeah.
Where if it ties into like my core business, I'm going to become an affiliate for it. Like I'm not going to be an affiliate for like, I don't know, sponges. Like it doesn't tie into my business, but like credit repair.
Yeah.
Entity creation, business credit. I've got all these affiliates for it because why wouldn't I? I talk about these things anyways. Send them to this affiliate. Now I'm getting paid for it.
Yeah. I get every time someone signs up for a CRM, it's $199. I get a check for $30 a month. Or not that that's, not going to break the bank, but you get 50 people paying you $30 a month. Starts to add up, right?
Yeah. And it all comes down, guys, to value. Like I couldn't do this if I wasn't providing value first. Like I built a following because I was providing value.
Exactly.
And then the following is there. Now I'm like, okay, I've got this following. They listen to what I'm saying, financial stuff. Let me give them more value. Plug them in with this, plug them in with that. Now I'm just getting more income because I'm providing more value.
Yeah.
So it's not greed. It's just, I guess it's greedy in a way, but I'm just providing more value to people.
But that company, to get that customer, is either going to pay marketing dollars to get that customer, right?
Right.
Or they're just going to be like, hey, Devin, talk about us. And that's their marketing spend. That's their to capture that customer.
Yeah. So they're paying me to do it instead of them having to go. They know I've got the following.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's incredible. I would highly recommend anyone listening, tune into how you can give value to people. Again, whether it's with cars, whether it's with your knowledge of water polo, like whatever it is.
Yeah.
Give value on a free platform. Instagram, TikTok, X, all these things are free. Give value to people, grow a following. Once you have that following, whatever they're tuning into, figure out ways you can give them more value and partner with other companies to make money off of it.
Yeah, it's just like, look at your following. Like, you were just giving out information, right? Just talking about infinite banking, right? And it's a strategy that, like, wholesaling houses, every second commercial is about, wholesaling houses. Like, buy my course, right?
Right.
No one even, people like have to probably double take infinite banking, right? Like, what did he just say?
Yeah.
I had not heard of that before. So, you're adding value to a space that not a lot of people add value to. Like, you want to talk to me about wholesaling houses, I'm like a Circle K. Like, or there might be a 7-Eleven, a Circle K, an AMP, and whatever.
Yeah.
But like, I have a set of skills that, everybody sold a course on.
Yeah.
And it's actually kind of fun, like watching, I don't want to call them younger kids, but they're younger kids, whatever. I'm 52, they're 25 to 30, and they're out there, and I watch, I'm just like, oh, I'm not too prideful to figure out, like, oh, that's a cool trick. You know what I mean? Just like,
learn from others. Yeah.
Yeah. So, it just, you have you provide value to something that people like. If we're all Circle K's, you're like this little boutique shop that has the best coffee on the corner, right? So, but yeah, it's fun. It's just like, if you provide value. I'm not nowhere near, but I was 14 months ago. I had 1,800 followers. I'm just passing through 58. I've not had. My best video, I think, only had like 15,000 views. I haven't hit the jackpot, but it's fun. It's like, watching people comment and be like, hey, that helped me. I was like, And then I'll get a text message like, hey, I took that little tip and did a deal. I think it's kind of those little things that like kind of bring that smile. Like I just got a good cup of coffee.
Yeah. It's almost worth more than the financial gain.
Yeah.
I forget who I heard it from when I first got into real estate. I think it was Pace Morby.
Yeah. That guy's a machine.
Yeah, I'm almost certain it was him. He was like, there's financial income and there's emotional income.
Yeah.
So emotional income is when you help people and they tell you like, this helped me so much. Like, thank you. I can't believe like I'm doing this for my family now because of what you taught me, blah, 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 whatever it is. That feels so much better than like you get a bunch of money and you go buy something.
Yeah.
The feeling of buying something nice goes away very quickly. Very quickly. But emotional income stays a little longer.
Yeah, no, it's like I said, when I get those little text messages like, hey, I just closed a deal, like, and it was because of you. I was like, I don't know. Jack, my son, could call me and be like, we just cracked one for 20. He gets excited about that.
Yeah.
And that's cool. I get that little text from like someone that just saw something or whatever. And he's like, and I know Jack, he did a little over 400 deals last year. So he's out there and he's in the grind and he's, doing it. But like, you get that person that's struggling, trying to get their first deal or whatever. And is like, man, I got it across the finish line. Like,
it feels good.
Yeah. It's warm and fuzzy.
It brings you back to like when you did your first.
Yeah.
Right? Like I remember my first deal was a JV deal in New Mexico. So I locked up this contract subject to in New Mexico.
Okay.
And had no idea what the hell I was talking about. Just kind of BS'd my way through it.
Yep.
But then I locked it up. So then I'm like, all right, now what do I do? So I'm going on YouTube University, figuring out how to like disposition a deal.
Right.
And so I just started like looking at different Facebook groups in New Mexico for real estate.
Great way to start. Yeah.
And at the top left-hand side, you could put in like keywords. So I would just put cash buyer and it would pull up any post that would have cash buyers there in New Mexico. So then I just started getting emails and hitting everybody up like, hey, I've got this deal. Like, what do you think? Blah, blah, blah. And then one guy was like, I wouldn't buy it, but I can definitely get it sold. So we JV'd it. I made a whopping $800.
Okay.
Maybe it was $900. But like, it might as well have been $1 million because the feeling I got, I was like, oh my God, I can do this.
Yeah.
This isn't that hard.
Proof of concept, right?
Yeah. And then the floodgates opened. So then I started getting deals here in Phoenix. I got one in Chicago. Me and Templeton did a few flips. And then I started coining myself as Mr. Burr because it's my last name. And I'm like, how about I do the Burr method and hold on to properties, and rentals? It just opened everything up by seeing that proof of concept. And whenever someone tells me like, hey, I got my first deal. Hey, I did this. It brings me back to that. And I'm like, I remember that feeling. It feels good.
Yeah. And so I think that's everybody's like, you get that first deal, like you go to YouTube University, whatever path you take. Once you get that first deal, you're like, I can do this.
Yeah. It's not that difficult.
Yeah, it's not.
It just takes resilience because you're going to hear a lot of no's.
Yeah.
Especially if you're doing the cold calling.
Oh, for sure.
You're going to hear, get a real job.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
You're going to have a lot of rejection. You have to be okay with it.
Yeah, and just like, think about my foreclosure. I started in September, and I didn't buy anything till
December.
Yeah,
that's 3 months.
Can you imagine just going somewhere for 3 months and just watching?
Yeah.
For 2 to 3 hours a day.
Yeah, but looking back now, you would have done it all over again, obviously.
Yeah, it's just, like I said, it's all the way back to that motivation piece. Like, it's motivating. Losing everything and starting from, so I had this is 07. I have the 2007 black Escalade. That's when the model year changed. And I had a Mercedes 550.
Okay.
Drove my Escalade to the dealership, gave him my keys. He's like, "You're not late." I'm like, "I'm gonna be."
I'm foreshadowing.
I had owned my Mercedes for cash, was able to sell it. I just sold it quick. And I drove a 1999 Toyota Camry with 137,000 miles on that was the brown color, not very attractive, I'd go over the speed bump and it would bottom out. My kids called it the hoopty.
The hoopty.
The hoopty. And, but like, that didn't stop my motivation. Like you just got to keep grinding. Like, it's just like, if you've got that entrepreneurial spirit, you're just going to keep grinding. You're not going to take no for an answer.
Yeah. And then once you hit it, be smart with the money.
Exactly.
Don't buy stupid stuff.
Yeah.
And if you do buy stupid stuff, make sure you can buy it a few times cash.
Yeah.
Because then it's not that stupid.
Yeah. Well, then or you're borrowing from your own bank to buy it, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But if you have your choice, you get a big check for 30 grand and you have your choice to put it back into marketing dollars, and you have a slot machine like I do that if you put in 30,000, you're going to get 150 back, right?
Why wouldn't you do that?
Yeah, why wouldn't you do that? Or take your 30,000 and put it as a down payment on the Lambo that now is going to cost you
depreciate
and 1,500 a month and 500 insurance. I don't fit in them, so
True.
But
You got to get yourself a 911. I'm sure you'd fit in a 911.
really?
Yeah, dude. It sits on the floor. The seat is so far down, and I'm 5'7", so I'm not tall.
Yeah.
But, dude, I've got like this much space above my head. It's incredible.
I like my F-150.
Yeah, you would really like a 911 though. It's freaking dope. I love the thing. So much so that it made me buy another Porsche.
Oh.
I got a Porsche Cayenne.
Oh, those are nice. Is that the 4-door? Or no, is it the
it's
SUV? SUV, yeah.
Yeah, because so we had our baby 2 months ago,
Yeah.
and I had a Audi SUV, smaller SQ5,
Yep.
and it was way too small. Like the rear-facing seat behind my wife on the passenger seat,
Yeah.
she'd have to put the seat all the way
up, yeah.
forward, and she's not big. She's like 5'3". Her knees were touching the dashboard. I'm like, this is too small. So we could have done it, but it was my excuse to get another Porsche.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I bought it from my banking system, so it's like, it is what it is. I make money off of buying that car.
Exactly.
So why not?
Yeah. Financial IQ.
There's something to be said about it. And one thing I will always tell people is that I wasn't born with financial IQ. Like, even just 3 or 4 years ago, I didn't really understand how money worked. And then I started learning it. So at 34, I started really learning how money worked and how to like deploy it, how to like invest, all these different things. Money compounds, but so does knowledge.
Yep.
So it takes time though. So the more you learn, you start compounding on that knowledge. The longer you give it, the more you're going to know. And then as long as you apply that knowledge, the more money you can make to compound and grow. Right?
Yep.
So I would always urge people to spend their free time learning. Like people that are watching this, they're learning.
Exactly.
They could be entertaining themselves, right? Netflix, on their phone scrolling through Instagram.
Yep.
But instead they're learning. Learn so educate above entertainment. If you do that, you're always going to be successful in my eyes.
Yeah, I don't watch. Everybody's like, did you watch that Netflix series? Did you watch it? I'm like, I won't even start one. Like, I won't even.
I'm the same.
I'm like, I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna I watch
Because you'll get hooked, right?
I get hooked, and I did it one time, and I was up till like 3 o'clock in the morning, and I'm just like, what am I doing with my life? I literally watched one series.
Which one was it?
Was Game of Thrones. So,
Okay.
Yeah, so I watched it.
I heard that one's.
So I binge watched. I got through it, and I'm just like, watched the first episode. I'm like, I won't do it.
Yeah.
I watched the NFL. That's it.
And then it's only on for a few months of the year.
It's only on. Well, you get Thursday night, Sunday, and Monday Night Football, right? Yeah. So.
For a few months, that's it.
Yeah.
So it's funny you say that because I'm the same way when it comes to shows. I know myself well enough by now. I'm almost 39 next month, which is crazy to think. But I've been through bouts where I binge watch.
Yeah.
Like Breaking Bad, I've binge watched it like 3 times. Like Orange is the New Black, all these different shows I've binge watched. So I started realizing I can, again, either educate myself or entertain myself. If I go down the entertainment path, I binge until like 3, 4 in the morning, and I get nothing done.
Right.
And then my life doesn't get any better. I realized that, so I stopped watching all shows. And my wife will watch them, and she tries to get me hooked in. She's like, you should watch this. I'm like, nope, not going to do it. And she got me with Billions. So it's about billionaires. So I was like, watch the first episode of this. Now I'm freaking hooked.
Yeah.
And I just keep watching this show. But at the same time, every time I'm done watching it, I feel like I want to go take over the world. So it's like a good one to be. So if you're going to watch anything, watch Billions.
I've always been like a fan. We all have that list of 7 to 10 items, right? That you need to complete. It's that email you need to respond to, that system you said you were going to set up, whatever it is. We all have that 7 to 10 items that stays on that list. Mm-hmm. That's what I use with my show watching time.
Okay.
Those 7 to 10 items. I mean, there's always more coming, but complete those items. How many people have probably had that 7, 10 items, and that's, I need to file this one piece of paper for my taxes, or I was going to implement this system to help my business, or I signed up for this course, and I was going to watch the 8 to 12 episodes. Like, you paid the whatever, $2,000 or $3,000, whatever you did, but you paid for it, right? And they're on the list.
And never get completed.
And they never get completed.
Yeah. Or if there's a timeline, they get completed right at the end.
Right.
Right? So if it has to be done by March 1st, people finish it February 28th.
Exactly.
Instead of getting it out of the way early.
Yeah.
Right? So couldn't agree more.
Yeah. So that's kind of what I after I was like, I'm going to just take this time, and, if anybody else is watching a show or whatever, I'll listen in just like you will. I know I won't get attached, but I'm just going to make sure I got my laptop out at the island, in the kitchen, whatever. Maybe I don't get through all 9, but let me just take that one task and remove it from the list.
Yeah.
I was one of those guys that, was always filing my taxes late and always doing that. Now I can tell you, I had a meeting with my CPA the first week of December. How do the taxes look? I converted to that versus waiting till, September. Like, what's my tax bill going to be? Like, hey, what's my tax bill going to be on December 5th? And what do I have to do in the next 3 weeks that I can do to adjust that?
Love it.
So
over these last, you've been in the business for this will be 25 years?
Yeah.
This September.
Yeah.
Crazy. So quarter of a century. You've learned some tax strategies, I'm sure.
Yep.
Give someone a tax hack that you've learned.
So obviously schooling, let's just say you can send your daughter to school, right?
Uh-huh.
Well, you could send her to XYZ public school, but maybe you want to have your daughter have a little bit better education. Mm-hmm. Well, you can pay your daughter $12,000 a year, right? And have your daughter pay for her school.
I think it's $12,900 and change or something.
Yeah.
But that one's great because then you can use that as a tax write-off from your business, and then they don't have to pay income tax on that money.
Right, because that's like the threshold of,
before it's considered exempt.
Yeah.
So it's exempt below that amount.
Yep.
Right?
And so you were able to write off your private school.
That's nice. I didn't think about it that way. See, I do something similar. So I pay my daughter, I think it's $12,900. I got to check the exact amount, but I'm pretty sure it's what my CPA said. I pay her monthly, and she does certain tasks around my office. So she'll like shred papers, she'll clean up a little bit, she'll fill out some forms, things like that. So then I pay her. I can write that off. She's not taxed on it.
Yep.
I take that money and I put it into a life insurance contract for her.
There you go.
So it's guaranteed to grow.
Yep.
And then I use the money, for instance, just bought her a car.
Yeah.
So I bought her a car cash by using leverage from the policy. Now I own the car.
Yep.
But she's making payments back to it that go back into the policy.
Right.
So now all we're doing is we're getting all that money back in the policy while the money kept compounding and growing, and we paid no taxes on it ever because it grows tax-free.
Yep.
So I love having little like ninja moves with taxes.
When you have your Airbnbs, you can, here's another quick one, like you have your Airbnb like I've had. Well, I can rent it to myself personally.
2 weeks a year?
2 weeks a year, yeah. And so, I can write myself a check, and I save on the taxes there, right? So there's another one. Obviously, the boat one, the bonus depreciation is one. You know,
the one where you rent out your property. Just so you guys know how this, everything we're saying, check with a CPA. We're not CPAs.
Yeah, we're not CPAs.
But that's the cover our ass
Yeah.
statement right there. But way it works is you can rent out your home for the going rate of a short-term rental.
Yeah.
So like if your home, a similar property goes for $2,000 or let's say $200 a night.
Yep.
And you rent it out for 2 weeks, that is $2,800.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's so many different loopholes. Most people don't understand the tax code. Most of it is how to pay less taxes.
Yeah.
It's incentives.
Yep.
There's only a little bit of the tax code of how to pay taxes, right?
Yep.
Any other ones you can think off the top of your head?
Obviously, the bonus depreciation got re-added just like a couple weeks ago, right? So the cars, like, you know, I get to use the F-150 because it's over 6,000 pounds.
And you can write off the whole purchase price.
The whole purchase price year one. So I just I have an F-150 in Florida. It got stolen, so I just got a new one. I never buy the used car, the new car. I buy the 1-year-old car with
smart
10 to 12,000 miles on it. But I just got and so yeah, I closed on it in December, so I'll write off that 100% year one. So I do the
beautiful thing.
My wife has triplets, so I use and they go to a private school, so we use the kid going to the private school hack times 3 to the tune of $36,000.
That's a beautiful thing. I
So-
didn't even think about it that way. You could use it for that.
Yeah, because you can't write off private school. That's just private school.
Yeah,
But the kids can pay for their own private school
with tax-free money.
with tax-free money.
That's freaking awesome. Yeah, so my daughter that we just had, she's 2 months old, so she's not going to school for a while.
Yeah,
But it gives me time because she's already got a life insurance policy.
yeah,
At 2 weeks old, she had one. Crazy.
yeah,
So we're putting $10,000 a year into it. Again, guaranteed to grow.
yeah,
We can use that money for whatever we want. So when she's 5 and she starts going like kindergarten, she'd have around 50 grand that we could use.
yep,
So we could use all 50 to pay for private school, and I could start funding that from my business as a write-off.
yep.
Actually, I can't because I think it's from 7 years old to 17.
Yeah, I think so.
I think that's the age.
I didn't know what the minimum age was. My wife's kids are 16, so
Yeah, I think it's 7 to 17.
yeah,
Because a 5-year-old can't work in your business.
right.
A 7-year-old, I guess, could somehow.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Sweeping the floors.
Yeah. I'm going to use that, though, 7-8 years from now, if that's still in the tax code.
Yeah, I mean, just like you said, it's just under financial IQ.
Yep. I think it was Donald Trump or maybe it was Bill Gates when asked like why they don't pay much taxes. And the simple answer was because I understand the tax code better than everyone else.
Yeah,
That's it.
that's it. It's funny that everybody, like, I don't want to get into politics, but everybody, like, he doesn't pay taxes, he doesn't pay taxes. Like, just, the rules were set up. He just has a good CPA that's watching the rules, right?
Yeah. You can do the same thing.
Yeah. He's got these giant, massive buildings that depreciate.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. So bonus depreciation on properties, right? So you can write off, I think it's the entire amount of the depreciation year one on a bonus depreciation,
Yeah.
correct?
I think if you do a cost seg, I don't think it's 100%. I don't. You know what's funny is everybody gets kind of down that train of cost segregation, and I haven't ever used that specific strategy, so I don't understand it 100%. So,
What I don't like about that is you're kind of just kicking the can.
yeah,
So eventually you have to pay a recapture.
Yep.
So when you sell the property, you have to pay the taxes at some point. So a lot of people's thought process is always keep kicking the can, and then I'll kick the can,
yeah,
and then my family's got to pay the taxes,
yeah,
right? If they sell the property. I have a strategy where I have a foundation. So the foundation is basically a way to pay zero taxes legally without ever having to recapture. It just has to be structured correctly.
Just stays in the foundation.
So basically, I have all my businesses
Yep,
up top. That's what brings in all the money.
yep,
And then all those businesses are owned by a management company.
okay,
So the management company owns, I think I have 7 or 8 LLCs. So when that money comes in, the management company charges a management fee
yeah,
to take the income off of those companies, so there's no taxation on those companies
yep,
because the management company owns them.
yeah. It's taking
Right?
all of it, right?
So now it's all in the management company. The management company can make a distribution to my business trust. Now all the taxation is off my management company. It's in the business trust. From the business trust, I can lend the money out. I can do whatever I want. There's no taxation. If anything's left over, I can make a donation or a distribution to my family trust. Now my family trust owns my property. So with tax-free money, I can pay my mortgage payment.
Yep,
So now the entire mortgage payment is tax deductible, not just the interest.
yep,
I can pay for a second home. I can pay for a vacation home, all from the family trust. I can fund all my life insurance policies. Anything left over at the end of the year, let's say it's $100,000.
yeah,
I can make a donation to my foundation. Donations are dollar for dollar tax write-off.
yep,
So now I just paid no taxes. I just have to make a 5% expenditure from the foundation. So if there's, let's say, $1 million in assets, I have to make a $50,000 like expenditure. It could be to a cause,
okay,
whatever I want. So I paid $50,000 to whatever I want, a cause that I believe in,
yep,
opposed to paying all this taxes to Uncle Sam, which I don't know where it's going to go anyways.
right,
So this last year, I saved almost $400,000 on taxes.
yeah. And then you had to pay, a small minimum amount to a cause that you believe in.
Exactly. So the money's going to something I believe in instead of the federal government putting it into who knows what.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
totally. I mean, it would take a lot of people to figure out that structure. I think I followed it all, but I mean, a lot of people would be like,
I've got a
Yeah.
tax attorney that
Yeah.
set it all up, and it was not cheap. It was $95,000 to set it up, but my tax bill was gonna be like $450.
yeah,
So what would you rather pay, $450 or $95?
exactly.
So I paid $95. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So there's so many loopholes. There's so many ways to make money. There's so many ways to save money on taxes. I'm a firm believer if you're not making a lot of money right now in this day and age, you're just not trying.
Yeah. Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah. But I mean, it's just like the, that whole financial freedom thing. It's like if you look at somebody that makes, actually, I saw this ad on social media. Lady quits job after making $150,000 a year driving for Uber. But she's driving for Uber, collecting the dollars, right? A percentage of that is going to Uber. I don't know what that percentage is. Then you got the car payment, and you got the tires and the oil changes and all the stuff, right? Then the gas, right? The gas is full time, right? Mm-hmm. It said it whittled down to $19,000.
From 150?
Yeah. It was just, social media thing. And it was like, I think it was on, USA Today or something ad that came across my thing. Like Uber driver quits, 150 gross to 19,000. But just like the W-2, if you had a W-2 and you're paying your taxes and your Medicare and your Social Security and all that stuff in there, and then you're paying your car payments and your mortgages and all that, what's really left at the end of the year?
Right. Especially if you're going out there and buying stupid stuff.
Yeah.
Because then you got a huge car payment. You got a house payment that's more than you can afford.
or you got credit card debt at 29.5%, or
Right. Right. So that opens up to like the whole credit card issue. I think so many people are in so much debt right now with credit cards. I think it's going to be one of the things that's going to have a correction in the market.
yeah.
Like, what are your thoughts with the market? What's going to correct it? Is it going to correct? How much is it going to correct? When's it going to happen? That kind of thing.
Well, I think there's obviously the low inventory is the only reason it hasn't corrected yet, right?
Right.
We had, the high point, Phoenix was cranking out 60 to 70,000 new builds a year. I saw this little, I don't want to go too far into it, but so 2007 hit because of a couple things, like manufacturers of homes or home builders are just cranking out at the craziest level, right? And the average home buyer buys at 32 years. Basic age, right? That's their first time home buyer. That's their purchase.
Yeah.
So you know what happened? Actually, this is kind of a weird set. You know what happened 32 years before 2007?
So that was, trying to do quick math. So that would have been back in the 80s, right? 70s, 80s?
Yeah, 70s. Yeah, right.
So that's when like rates were like 18%, 19%.
So if you actually look at the birth rate, so I saw this on a podcast, abortions became legal 32 years before.
Oh.
Delivery rates dropped 54%.
Oh.
For a 2-year period.
Wow.
Did no one realize that the banking system giving away free money, builders building at such a high volume, the average person buys at 32. 32 years before, abortions became legal. And if you go look at the birth rate, it's and it takes a 50% drop for a 2-year period.
Wow. Wow. Yeah, that makes sense because then there's all this inventory and
no
one
buyers.
to buy it.
Well, half the buyers.
That makes sense.
Supply demand, right?
Yeah.
Just back to simple supply and demand. Now, if the buyers would have stayed the same, would we have just been kicking that can down the road? Would it have changed in 2009 or 10 or 11?
Yeah.
But you have all the inventory coming on board and your buyers dropped off.
Wow. That's nuts. That is nuts. So, wow, that is nuts. So, because that's the main thing that's keeping it right now is there's not enough inventory for all the people.
Yeah, so with the financial crisis, all the builders are like, I'm not building. Like, they just stopped building. And so now the only thing that's keeping us from probably having a little bit of a real estate crash is there's just not enough supply.
Which is kind of scary because if you look around Phoenix for sure, they're building everywhere.
Well,
and it's like not just single family homes, it's condos.
Well, look at the rental pricing. No one's talking about the rental pricing, but the rent rates are coming down because of
which never happens.
Yeah. It's rent rates have just like been that steady eddy, like up 4%, up 5%, up, just continually gone up. Well, now they're on their way down because they're delivering all these multifamily units that are all brand new, that are all nice and clean, 2023 build, 2024 build. It's just like the new car. They want to live in the new condo, right?
Yeah.
So, someone's going to probably take a little bit smaller unit in a condo complex, in a townhouse community, brand new, and then go rent, a single family, older, beat up or, not maintained to brand new quality so you see rent prices coming down.
Because there's oversaturation of rental units?
Yep.
Wow.
Of all the rental units delivering, like everybody was doing apartment syndications and, putting money into that and doing builds and all that stuff. But the multi-family deliveries in the next 2 years are crazy. And then, if you had a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house and you had the single family home and it was, a 1990 that was 30 years old and needed probably a complete refit versus, they just put this, it's a little smaller, but they put this little townhouse community, condo community, because a lot of build for rent's going up too, right?
Mm-hmm.
I can have this, which it's brand new.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
I'd rather live there.
It's a little smaller. I'm sharing some walls, but it's brand new.
But it's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got the community pool, no more maintenance, all the stuff, right?
Wow. Yeah, I think my personal opinion is that, and who knows if this is accurate, but I think that rates are going to come down a bit. It's already been talked about. The feds are going to drop rates. And as soon as rates drop, there's so many buyers that have not bought. One, there's a lack of inventory, like we talked about.
Yep.
But two, it's just because rates are so high with prices where they're at, because the fact that people haven't bought or sold, I should say, there's a lack of inventory.
Yep.
Why would you sell if you've got a 3% interest rate to go buy something at a 8% interest rate? Doesn't make sense. So people haven't sold their homes.
Right.
Right? So when rates drop a bit, now the people that are sitting on the sidelines waiting to buy, they can afford the house now at a 6%. They couldn't afford it at an 8%.
Yeah.
So I think what that's going to do is ramp prices up more.
Yeah. So there's an interesting conversation. Let's just talk about a $300,000 house, right? They say they borrowed $250,000. They got their 3% rate, maybe their 3.5% rate. They're sitting there, right? But their value went to $500,000.
Right.
They're sitting at their $250,000. But then they went and bought their car. It's probably at an 8% rate right now.
Right.
They got that $10,000 to $12,000 sitting on that 29% credit card because they're out of debt. So I think you'll start seeing some of those 3.5% movers start putting their house on the market, because now it adds inventory to the market, and now they could go get a credit line to access some of that liquidity, but the Fed rates up. It's probably 9.5, right?
On a HELOC? Oh,
Yeah. So now they okay, it's 3% here, but I can access this 200 or this 250 in cash
To get rid of this 29%.
and the car loan and
yeah.
all the stuff, and maybe they did take the credit line for 30%, which is, here's money here going out, here's money here going out, here's money here going out. Okay, I'll sell the 3%, but I can get the 250 cash. I can get liquid again. I can get rid of all the debt, and I go buy the same $500,000 house at 6%. At least I can write off that interest on the mortgage payment, save on the taxes a little bit. So I don't think you're going to get the 2.5%, maybe that the 3%, but the 3.5% and 4% guy, when they get into the 6s, will be like, and then life stuff happens, right? Divorce, job move, all that. So I think you'll get some of those people in that 3.5%, 4% to move to that. They'll be like, all right, we'll sell it, access the liquidity, and go do this again.
Especially if, it's another tax hack, if you live in a property 2 out of the last 5 years,
Yep.
you can write off, if you're single, it's $250,000 capital gains.
Yep.
So if you made $250,000 of profit, 0 taxes on it.
Yep.
If you're married, it's up to $500, I believe.
Yep.
So again, live in a home 2 out of the 5 years. So I always tell people, like, look, buy a home, live in it for 2 years, then rent it. If you're going to sell it before that 5th year, because then you don't have any capital gains.
Yeah.
Or just don't sell it and just get equity lines to access the equity and go use the equity to make you more than what it costs to borrow the money.
Yeah.
Right? So I love it. I wish I knew this stuff when I was like 18.
So so I'm selling that Airbnb, but I was a primary residence, right?
Yeah.
I bought it for $7. I put $3 in it. Now I expense the $300 in the business as expenses. So let's call my basis $800.
Okay.
Sold it for $2.8. Right? So I'm going to use the $500 married, so I can keep that cash tax-free as cash. And then, so that moves my basis to 1.3.
Okay.
And then I'm going to 1031 exchange the rest
Nice.
into sub-2 deals, low down payment, low entry fee, which I'm picking up 3% mortgage, 3.5% debt, reselling them at 7.5%, 8% on wraps. So I'm creating spread on, debt that's not even my debt.
I love it. I love it.
And then I'm doing one purchase. I picked up this Christmas. I picked up a 1.9 in Pinnacle Estates on an acre, 3,700 square feet, probably worth 1,819. I grabbed it because of seasonality and the fall. I was able to grab it for 970. 1031 into that. Put the 250, 300 grand into that. Make it all brand new, pretty nice. I close on that February 15th. I will then just short-term, I'm kicking the can, but I will finish it, short-term rental it till it reached a year so I can do 1031 again.
Love it.
Now, I didn't start my 401k until I was 50. So the government says if you have zero 401k, from 50 to 62, they want you to have $3 million. So over a 12-year time frame, I can put basically 300 grand a year for rough numbers in my
Your self-directed
defined benefit pension plan.
So it's like a solo 401k?
Yeah.
Got it.
Just for me. I have no employees. So I'll take some of that cash and drop it in there. So I've done that for the last couple of years. So now I'm putting 300 tax-free into my solo 401k. I will take that $1 million house, keep it a year, sell it, flip it, take the cash profit, deposit it into next year's 401k.
I love it. Ninja moves. Just freaking ninja moves. I love it, dude. I hope everyone's getting so much value here. These are things that are like, they sound complex, right?
Yeah.
But I urge everyone to go back and listen to these little strategies, because if I was to tell you guys how to ride a bike and you've never ridden a bike, it would sound complex.
Yeah.
Sit on this seat, put your feet on these pedals. You're going to go in circular motions with your feet, pushing down. You're going to sit, balance, grab the handlebars. If you want to go left, turn the handlebars left. If you want to go right, turn the handlebars right. Balance, go straight. It would be like, what? But then you do it, and you cannot ride a bike for 10, 15, 20 years and get on a bike and ride it like that.
Exactly.
It's just, you have to really learn these things, and then they're easy. Like what you just explained, for most people, they're like, wait, what?
Yeah.
But for you, it's like, this is just easy because it's not that difficult. You just need to know what to do, and then you just got to do it.
Yeah. How can I make $2 million, do some cash, keep 500 grand cash in my pocket, do a 1031 exchange, and probably buy 5 to 7 rentals that are going to create me 5% spreads on millions of dollars.
I love it. What he did, guys, is he tapped into what I talk a lot about, is the velocity of money. If you give your dollars more than one job, they can multiply.
Yeah.
So if you have, let's say this water is $2, right?
Yep.
If I buy this, that $2 served one purpose. It bought me the water. I can drink the water. However, if I take the $2 and let's say I just put it into a life insurance contract, it's compounding and growing over here. That's one job. Now I use it to buy the water. I just gave my dollars 2 jobs. So what you did is you just gave your dollars more than one job, which is how you're able to multiply them.
Yep.
So as long as if you think about money as little green soldiers, and for them to multiply, you have to send them out and deploy them, and they make little soldier babies, and those babies come back to you because you're daddy or mommy, then you just have to give them more jobs and figure out ways to do it, and it's not that difficult.
Yeah.
So rewatch what he was saying again and again and again, and it'll click. And I hope you guys can actually do it. I love it, dude.
Yeah. I heard one last thing, but I heard this thing about water. You can probably buy this water at the grocery store for, let's call it 50 cents, right? Yeah. You buy this water at the Circle K for $2, right? Now, if you went to the Phoenix Open, you'd probably buy this water at $10, right?
Right.
So this water is priced differently depending on where the location is.
Mm-hmm.
So you as a person can spend your time here where you're worth 50 cents. You can spend your time over here where you're worth $10.
I love it. I love it. Guys, so much value. I'm gonna leave with one thing, and then we'll talk about how people can get in contact with you. But it plays into what he just said about the water. Is at a molecular level, we're all made up of the same stuff.
Yep.
We're energy. This microphone is the same thing as this water. It's energy.
Yep.
Just vibrating at different frequencies. So if the water can be at one place and it's got a certain value, but it goes to another place and it's got 10x the value, 100x the value, it's the same stuff.
Yeah.
We are the same thing. So you could spend your time at a job where you're making $10 an hour, or you can just put yourself in a different environment and be worth more, make more, have more impact, because we are the same thing as the water. We're just energy.
Yep. Exactly.
It's all about where you put yourself.
Yep. Or where you value your time.
So good. So good. Dude, there's been so many freaking clips. I'm telling you. How many clips have there been from this? There's been so many good clips. So I'm excited to see them come out. I'm excited for this one to drop for you guys. If you got value, definitely share it. How can people reach out to you, get a hold of you, follow you?
Yeah, I'm just on Instagram. I mean, you can find me on Facebook, but I'm maxed out. You know, I can't. But you can follow me on Instagram, just at Chris Eymann. And then we're property wholesaler, so sell wholesale houses. We're in Phoenix and Florida.
Got it. And Eymann is EYMA, 2 N's.
Yeah, 2 N's.
MANN. All right, so this has been fun, dude. It's been fun. Guys, share this episode. I appreciate everyone listening. If you're listening, watching, if you're watching, share it with everyone you know. Until next time, I love you guys. Peace.